Right off the bat, Galaxy Warp. This place was mentioned 2 episodes ago, and here we are. 16 warp pads all aligned in some kind of celestial constellation pattern, with the homeworld warp in the middle and the Earth one way off to the side. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to the way they're laid out, but I think the idea is that each one goes to a different gem colony. But we're too early in the show to talk about that.
I've never seen so many warp pads before. I hope I have enough of these Crying Breakfast Friends stickers.
Crying Breakfast Friends is mentioned a few times throughout the show, and it actually appeared in episode 1. I pointed that one out when I saw it.
Well, Stephen, these warp pads were used to travel off-planet. They were our connection to the gem homeworld and to gem-controlled planets all over the universe.
This episode is absolutely trying to mislead new viewers. We just watched Lapis get off Earth, and now we're learning that these were used to travel to and from space. With the way the gems and Pearl specifically talk about it this early on, a logical conclusion you could come to is that the gems are stranded on Earth, waiting to be rescued. The pieces are there, you could totally put that together. I know I sure did, but they're the wrong pieces. I've said that before, this show likes to mislead you a lot of the time.
It really is incredible out there, though. I wish you could see it, Stephen.
Space is cool and all, but, I can see space from my backyard. Pearl gets pretty hung up on getting back out there, and I kinda see it as a sudden bout of claustrophobia. She was so used to being out in space, and, again, we're way too early in the show to be talking about that.
Stay tuned for another episode of Crying Breakfast Friends.
Yeesh, I must be getting old. I used to like cartoons.
That's me. That's just me in this current landscape of cartoons. It's no wonder I'm still watching the show and going back to old shows rather than watching anything modern. I wish there was a larger selection. Right now it feels like cartoons are in a slump. There's nothing that keeps my interest. Also, Steven's using a stool, like a baby version of the stools from the house. Why aren't they just watching TV in the house anyway? Did the gems ban Greg after last episode?
Dad, can you help me build a spaceship?
You know, that might be a little outside my skill set. How about a bunk bed with wings?
Sure, but where would you put a bunk bed in Steven's house? Imagine Steven sitting up in the morning and smashing his head against the ceiling because he's 10 inches away from it.
No way! We could totally build a spaceship. People have done it before, and we're people.
I love this energy, and I follow this logic a lot myself. Actually try it one day when you're considering a project. If you want to make, say, a video game. This game was made by one guy, and I'm one guy, so I can just make a video game too. Nothing is too complicated. Ah, the barn. We spent a lot of time here in Season 2, but this episode is the first look into it. Kind of a strange location, though. It's just a barn with no farm or even a house anywhere to be seen. It's full of aircraft parts, but it's not a hangar, it's a barn. It doesn't look big enough to fit a whole airplane inside. Even Pearl's spaceship later in the episode has wings that fold up to actually get through the door. Very strange, but very iconic. This location is a pretty significant one later on. I did the math before, and I can't remember the exact number, but it was something like $100 million worth of aircraft parts just sitting here. And this isn't even how Greg gets rich later in the show.
They cherished the years they spent together and they held on to every belonging they ever owned. Kind of like me and my storage shed. Starting to think our family has a problem.
Greg's hoarding seems to be a hereditary thing then. Also, there's a TV that won't count toward the total number of broken TVs. Also, this box of food. I don't want to know what's in there or how long it's been sitting there. I'm surprised it wasn't ravaged by raccoons or rats or something. So often do shows like this, including Steven Universe, use montages to fill time when an episode is too short. But the 2 in this episode are the perfect length to serve the story without being intrusive. It's 30 seconds and has just enough shots to show that just around a day has gone by. Okay, not sure if this is the same duct tape from last episode, but duct tape does make another appearance. Greg looks like he's kinda struggling here. Steven's what, 12, 13, and a fat kid. Greg has to be jacked seeing his feats of strength throughout the show.
What is this?
We built a spaceship!
A spaceship?
A spaceship!
A spaceship.
This is one of my favorite exercises in acting, repeating a phrase with a bunch of different inflections that completely change the meaning. One of the best phrases for that is, there are plenty of other options. There are plenty of other options. There are plenty of other options. This is pretty standard for soapbox racing. I mean, it doesn't look like the steering wheel has any actual control, but you can find much worse crashes than this on YouTube. Back when I made Crystal Sins, I tried for 2 days straight to use some Autodesk software to run a fluid dynamics simulation on this shape, and now, 7 years later, I still don't know how to do that. I still want to figure it out. If you can help me, contact me on Discord or something. I have to know if the final ship has the aerodynamics of a potato.
And we'll need some serious engines, or maybe rockets would be better.
I vote rockets!
I'm no rocket surgeon, at least not professionally, but isn't it like impossible to leave Earth's atmosphere without rockets? If you're using jet engines, which have to have an air intake, eventually you're gonna run out of air and therefore thrust.
It would be incredibly dangerous. A fool's errand. This chair is disgusting.
I really like to imagine that this line was ad-libbed in the recording booth and they just kept it in. Probably not true, but I can always dream.
And maybe just for a second, from a distance, I could see what's been going on without me. All right!
If you never noticed before, whenever a character does the star eye thing, there's this little ringing noise. It's really obvious in this scene because when Steven does it, it's almost totally silent. Maybe it's a coincidence, but this is kind of reminiscent of the first Iron Man movie where the first suit is built out of scraps with minimal tools. Granted, they had computers and stuff in that movie, and here they're just working with a drill and an adjustable wrench. Yeah. Men will watch this scene and just think, hell yeah. Alright, first cardinal sin of safety here. I didn't think I'd be talking about sins again. Don't stand in the exhaust path of the fucking jet engine. If that thrust picks up a rock or something, that'll be moving as fast as a bullet before you can even blink. Steven, we need to cook. The question of whether there's ever intervention from the federal government regarding gem stuff can be asked a lot throughout this show. If this little aircraft was spotted on a radar without contacting air traffic control, the FAA would have a field day investigating this.
Is there a shop in town that carries F1 single-nozzle liquid-fueled rockets?
The F1 was the engine used for the Saturn V rocket. You know, the rocket that carried man to the moon. Those things were built by hand. They were like the Ferrari of spaceflight. So you tell me if they sell those in town.
Steven, you're grounded.
What?
No. I mean, you're grounded. You don't get to leave Earth.
Oh, what?
Greg never technically ungrounds Steven before he goes to space again. Just think of all the times he goes behind his dad's back and goes to the moon or goes to the zoo to save his dad. Oh wait.
As CEO and Supreme Space Commander, I hereby ground this astronaut and cancel this mission.
God, I want to be a Supreme Space Commander someday. I don't even know what that means. Honestly, I just want a Supreme somewhere in my job title. Or Grand or Ultimate or Royal or something like that.
I'm sorry, bud. Sometimes you just gotta know when to bail.
All that distaste for Greg we got from last episode has probably boiled off by now. Just having him take charge like this and keep Steven safe is enough to convince me that he's a good guy again. I still don't get all those people who think Greg is a bad father after only one incident, when his character immediately bounces back here. I love Greg, he's my favorite human character. I've never slept outside like this, and I don't think I'd want to. Wouldn't you get eaten alive by mosquitoes?
Shh. Want to see something really cool?
Want to see something cool?
I can't unhear it.
Presenting the brand new ballistic flight-capable Universe Mach 3!
Cool fog machines for dramatic effect. Pearl would be a great spokes-gem at a tech conference. Imagine Pearl revealing a new phone or VR headset or something. Someone draw that. Nice chair continuity. This is the chair that Pearl called disgusting earlier, but it looks like she's either sanitized it or just come around to its charm. It's not a stool, but it is for sitting.
If you want, Steven, we could take her out for an engine check.
Whoa! Hold the phone. Now give the phone to me. What is that on Pearl's chest? Here's a bit of a story. This is the exact moment where I thought someone needed to make some sort of overanalyzing Steven Universe type series. There are so many little awesome details like this throughout the show that are incredibly easy to miss. After I found out a series like that didn't exist and the ones that tried had already failed, I said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And here we are. This is the moment that birthed Gemology as an idea.
And that's pretty cool.
What? What the? Pearl!
I can believe Pearl was able to lift a van extremely carefully and take off the wheels without waking Greg, sure. But you'd need an angle grinder to take the side of the van off. I refuse to believe Greg would have kept sleeping through that. Unless Pearl chloroformed him in his sleep. With all the chemicals in that barn, that might be the most likely scenario. This is the same sound effect from when Steven summoned his shield 2 episodes ago. There's a few more sounds layered in as well, but it's there.
What was that?
Cool warning light. You know what would make it better? If it told you what the warning meant. Also, this E key is upside down.
We can make it. We're almost there.
Almost where? You just took off. Almost to space? Pearl is definitely deranged in this episode. She's hell-bent on leaving the planet, and for what? What happens if this thing breaks after you make it to orbit? She'd be stranded in a much worse place. I wanted to go to space as a kid, but it got a lot less interesting once I realized there's nothing to do out there. The best you could do from orbit is look back at Earth, and Steven just did that 2 episodes ago. Speaking of 2 episodes ago, again, Steven's fucking head should have exploded here. They're high enough that you need a pressure suit to exist. Wait, I guess they're not that high up? What is that, 300 feet? But from the other shot, they were already miles above the ground. This show has a problem with scale.
Oh, this kid's killing me.
Between his obesity, the cholesterol from all the pizza and junk food, and Steven causing him stress, it's a wonder how Greg's high blood pressure hasn't killed him already.
I'm so sorry. I almost got us killed.
They talked about getting killed twice in a row in this episode? What are the rules for talking about death? Fuck you, that's the rule.
I'm sorry I couldn't help you go to space. We'll get there someday. I promise.
Another line of continuity started with Steven saying that. I should chart out where these lines start and end.
You know, I think I'd rather be here on Earth.
With me!
Yeah, with you.
This is an awesome ending, especially since it calls back to that line from the beginning.
But now I'm here, on Earth, forever.
With me!
Right, with you.
This episode is incredible. It's a purely Pearl-focused story with a backdrop of being a spaceship-building adventure. This is the best look we get into Pearl so far. At least more so than just what she's like on the surface. She misses space. Maybe the Earth feels like a prison to her. Like all the bad things that have happened to her happened here, and sometimes she just wants to get away from it. She misses being able to travel across the universe, but now she gets to spend time with the universe, the Steven universe. She totally turns around in this episode, appreciating what Earth has to offer, the main thing being Steven. If you want to see the next episode a week before it premieres on YouTube, you can subscribe to my Patreon for just a couple bucks. The link is in the description, as always. Shoutouts to my Journeyman patrons, Boomblorp, Emily, Fiore Army, Sindirant, Scala LD, Stephen Wickers, and the Tamara. Also shoutouts to these apprentice patrons. Next episode is a secret. Shh, don't tell anyone.